So we got one of my favorite matchups out of just about every single matchup this year. Ramsey versus Metcalf. Let's get into it. So yeah, I'm sure most of you are confused by that. Just to clarify, I'm talking about the Rams and the Seahawks. Just in case you were a little confused, as I'm sure absolutely none of you were, because you saw the thumbnail, the title, you know who those people are. Anyway, welcome to the video. This is a video series that I've started. Video number 3 in this series, where I just go in depth with these playoff matches. It started off with my last two. I'm going to try. If you haven't seen them, I'm going to try and put a card up in one of the corners. I don't remember which one. But if not, they will be in the links in the description, where I would urge you to go and check them out, where I give my predictions to the first two games. Granted, if those games have already happened, then you might as well. Anyway, if you want my overall predictions to the playoffs, that is one of the more recent ones on the channel. It was published last Wednesday, and is my best video ever. And I thank everyone who watched that. Thank you very much. But yeah, in this series, set up a little different. I focus on one particular game, and with that game, I give my thought process for why I think each team can win and why I think each team can lose. I give my thought process. So while it might not be backed by full logic, it's my thought process. It's flawed. I get it. There's definitely the amazing thing about sports is we can all watch the same thing and get completely different ideas out of it. Because there are people much smarter than I when it comes to sports. There are people nowhere near as smart as I, which I'm sorry for them. Those are the people that just don't know what sports are. But we can watch the same thing, and this goes for anything. We can look at the same thing, take different things out of it. So your thought process, bringing it back to this, could be way different than mine when it comes to this type of stuff. You might emphasize something more than I would, like turnovers, or a completion percentage for a quarterback, or how many times a running back fumbles, how many times the defender forces a fumble. You might emphasize those things more than I would, which could lead you to different results. But yeah, we are here with this video. I kind of mentioned the topics I'm going to go over. It's why the Rams will win, why the Seahawks will win, why the Rams will lose, why the Seahawks will lose. That's as basic as I can get it, with filling in the Rams will win because of their balanced attack, for instance. Not necessarily balanced attack. I wrote balanced attack. It's not necessarily true. It's just my brain writing. Anyway, I like the way their offense is set up. I really like the way their offense is set up. I'm not a huge fan of Jared Goff. I do like him more than John Wolford and Blake Bortles. So if the Rams want a shot at winning, Goff needs to play. But I love Woods. I love Kupp. Specifically, I love Kupp. I love watching Cooper Kupp play. So that's Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett caused me some stress in fantasy a little bit. But outside of that, I'm fine with them. I really like the way, this is, if I were the head coach or offensive coordinator of a team, I would set up pretty similarly to this, where it is clearly a pass, their best part is a passing offense. Yet at any time, you have a running back that can do great things, and that's Cam Akers. While he hasn't had the numbers that a few of the other rookie running backs have had, he still had decent numbers. 625 yards, 2 touchdowns, with the 4.3 average. That's not bad. Is it anything great? No. But the turmoil in the running backs, Rams running back depth chart, whatever, with Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown, and just the rotation in there was not great for Akers. But yeah, still he can do quite a bit, as we saw with the with the 4.3 yards per carry. The next thing I really love about this team is the defense. No, it is not the same defense from 2018, 2019. However, they still have who many consider to be the best player in football. I am not one of them. I think he is extremely talented. He is my number 2 player in football. He's the best player in this game. And Aaron Donald, absolutely amazing. And then they have one of the best secondary, if not the best. They have one of the best cornerbacks, if not the best cornerback in football. Xavier Howard is pretty good. They have one of the best secondary players in football in Jalen Ramsey. Other than that, there's no huge names. You really like. There's a few people like Michael Brockers, Leonard Floyd, but out of the two of those, Michael Brockers has played very good. Specifically, or wait, was I getting him confused? There's a good chance I'm getting him confused. Yeah, I got him. Michael Brockers has played very good. He's gotten 5 sacks, 21 solo tackles. But I got a little confused. I'm sorry. That was me being an idiot. Leonard Floyd is the one I want to focus on. My apologies. Leonard Floyd, 31 solo tackles, 10.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. While those are very good numbers, there's something even better I want to point out with Leonard Floyd. And that's his sacks against a certain team. Certain team with the bird logo, with the quarterback who had MVP aspirations before facing this Rams team. And yeah, he has 5 sacks against Russell Wilson. Half of his sacks are against one quarterback. Well, the 10.5 is very impressive. The fact that it's amazing to me that half of those are still against one dude. That's just absolutely amazing. I think this defense is built to stop the Seattle offense, and part of that is focusing on Jalen Ramsey. We all know. I think everyone knows that for Seattle, they have this thing. They call him a human, though I'm not entirely certain he is. DK Metcalf. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's 23 years old, so fairly young. 6'4". It's not bad for NBA standards. NFL would be pretty tall, but NBA is kind of short. 229 pounds of sheer muscle, at least from the looks of it. He might have a negative body percent fat, but he's one of the best deep threats, if not the best in football. He's 1,303 yards, with an average of 15.7 yards per catch. On 83 catches, got 1,303 yards and 10 touchdowns. Yeah, but that's what makes, most teams have no answer for that. As we see Metcalf's stats against, his overall stats, his overall stats at home. I'm just going to do that because that's what I have. Or, no, we can just go here. Sorry. I'm a little tired. So his stats against, let's go with the fairly good defensive team, the New England Patriots. They're pretty good. 4 receptions on 6 targets. It's not bad. 92 yards and a touchdown. Okay? That was in week 2. Can I count? Yes. Week 2. That's not right. No, that's right. Sorry. Then, just a couple weeks later, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8 weeks later against the Rams. 2 receptions on 4 targets, 28 yards, no touchdowns. 2 weeks later against the Philadelphia Eagles, 10 receptions on 13 targets, 177 yards, no touchdowns. How do you manage that? Anyway, 52-yard long. And then just 4 weeks later against the Rams, in a game they won, only 6 of 8 six receptions on 8 targets, 59 yards, no touchdowns. You know what? In those 2 games against the Rams, he has been guarded by one man, and that's Jalen Ramsey. He's the main piece when I say that this team is built to stop the Seahawks. It's Jalen Ramsey. There's very few cornerbacks that can have this success against DK Metcalf. I mean, San Francisco had it. He went 3 receptions on 9 targets for 21 yards. Not good. But everywhere else, like against Washington, he only had 43 yards, but he caught 5 of his 6 targets. Against the Jets, he only had 61 yards, but he had a touchdown. The Giants, he got 80 yards. Cardinals, he only had 46 yards on 35, but had a touchdown. So in every game, something stands out. Against the 49ers earlier in the season, 12 of 15 receptions and targets, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns. Most teams don't have an answer for DK, but the Rams do in Jalen Ramsey. But yeah, so that's another reason why I think they will win. So, I mean, I think I do have the exact stats. I probably should have gone over this. Yeah, DK Metcalf against Jalen Ramsey in 2 games, 6 targets per game, 4 receptions per game, 43.5 receiving yards per game, 0 touchdowns. DK Metcalf against other cornerbacks, 14 games, 8.4 targets per game, 5.4 receptions per game, 86.9 receiving yards per game, and 10 touchdowns. That just sums it up. But the other thing, my last reason for why I think the Rams will win, as I've already taken up about 20 minutes, is they will be able to keep the ball away from Russell Wilson, which is very important. They average 32 minutes 1 second in time of possession. I didn't realize how good that was. It was the second most in the league. They held the ball for the second longest amount of time out of every single team in the NFL. That is very important going into a matchup with someone like Russell Wilson. That is extremely important. But speaking of Russell Wilson, why will the Seahawks win? Russell Wilson. That's literally what I have in my notes. About this Rams game, if I'm being honest, Russ looked like an MVP winner. I'm not even going to say candidate. Russ was the front runner for the MVP. People were saying, oh, he's gone from no votes to finally winning the MVP. But we all know that's not the case anymore. And it's mainly because in the 4 weeks, from the Cardinals, 49ers, Bills, and Rams games from the 25th to the 15th of October and November, he threw 7 interceptions, and 2 of those coming against the Rams. However, outside of that, Russ has been insane. The interceptions aren't great, but other than that, Russ has been amazing. He led the league in touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was tied for second. Sorry. Tied for second with Brady for touchdowns. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Don't let anyone forget that. Next, Pete Carroll has done it before. We've seen him win a Super Bowl. Okay? Pete Carroll knows what it takes to win. Maybe we've seen him get to a Super Bowl. Granted, like his most recent one when they lost. But Pete Carroll knows what it takes to get into the playoffs and do well in the playoffs. So having Pete Carroll is an advantage for the Seahawks. Next, their defense is starting to come alive. Like the numbers, I'm sorry, I don't have them. I don't know the exact numbers, but in the last couple games, the Seattle defense has looked capable. Like before that, they could have swapped them with the Jets, and we wouldn't have known. But now the Seahawks defense is looking better. It could take a hit, as we'll get to later, but we'll get to that later. And they're the definition of a balanced offensive attack. They're 18th in rushing attempts per game and 17th in passing attempts per game. While they are about 10 attempts off, 18th and 17th, that's almost as balanced as you can get for an offense. So, the defensive coordinator, who is it? I don't remember the defensive coordinator from the Rams. But for the Rams can't go into this saying, "Oh, we only have to worry about Russell Wilson." Chris Carson is getting rushes on the ground. Carlos Hyde is getting rushes on the ground. Granted, they're not the most efficient of rushers, but they're getting touches. Like, you have to respect the fact that they're getting touches. So, that is a huge advantage for the Seahawks, especially because in the past they have been a run-first team, and everyone has known they want to run the ball. So, got to stop the run, and it hasn't been great for the Seahawks. So now they're letting Russ cook. They're expanding their pass attempts per game, and that'll greatly help the Seahawks in this matchup. Why will the Rams lose? Well, they got Jared Goff. He is inconsistent. I mean, he has gone from throwing 351 yards. 351. That's all the way down, all the way back, and all the way down and halfway up a football field in yards. And then in the very next game, 137. That's like there and a third of the way back. That's nowhere even near. It's not even half of what he did in the game before. Another example, he has gone from 60 in one game, 64.7% completion percentage to 55.8. It's about an 8-9% drop. I can't do math with percentages. My brain gets dead. Yeah, it's not great. It's not. The other thing with Jared Goff is, will he even play? Or will their starting quarterback in their most important game this year be John Wolford? I think we all know that if it's John Wolford, we know it's going to happen. Like, I'm sorry, I'm sure John Wolford is an amazing person. But that would be a time you would like to have Jared Goff as quarterback. The next reason would be the defense wasn't what it once was, specifically 2018-2019, headlined by Donald and Sue. That's the main thing. Their quarterbacks were nowhere near the star talent that they are right now. The numbers are being produced in the passing defense, but in terms of the star power, it's not what it once was. It's still great, but it's not that 2018-2019 defense that we saw from the Rams. And the final one is they aren't protecting Jared Goff enough. I'm trying to find the stat here. But, they haven't been great in protecting Jared Goff. So, according to this, no, it got better, but it's still not great. Yeah, in 2018, Jared Goff got sacked 33 times. But then it got better in 2019, 22, and now this year it's stepped up to 23. But for me, I would like to keep my quarterback on his feet a little bit more than that. I get Whitworth has been in and out, more often, at least recently, out than in. Though he is coming back, so that'll definitely help. But yeah, Goff has been under pressure continuously. Doesn't matter who they play. And against the Seahawks, if Jamal Adams plays, it's going to be a lot of pressure for Goff. But yeah, so my final topic here, why will the Seahawks lose? Well, one thing is, you want to talk about getting sacked. The Seahawks have... Pete Carroll apparently just doesn't know what an offensive line is. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's this year or in the past couple years of Russ's career. We've all seen the video of him just dancing in the pocket. I don't even call it a pocket. Dancing in the backfield. We've all seen stuff like of him just running in the backfield. It's not good. And against this Rams team, with Aaron Donald, Michael Brockers, Michael Brockers, and Leonard Floyd, with no O-line, Russ is going to end up on the floor a lot. So yeah, that'd be a reason why the Seahawks would lose. The next is there's a chance they will not have their best defensive player in Jamal Adams. I don't know the official status of his injury and how it actually affected him. He says it's not a question that he'll play, and I don't doubt he is going to play. I just doubt how effective he's going to be while playing. I think it was a necessity if this Seahawks team wants to do anything in the playoffs. But yeah, if that injury is nagging, we can see this Rams team take advantage of that with there's two receivers. I don't know if I think it's Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, I think are their names. Yeah, they're pretty good. So, yeah, they could take advantage. We can add Adams. And with Whitworth coming back for the Rams, Adams on the pass rush might not be as effective as it has in the past. So, yeah, whether he is playing or is not, the injury could be a huge factor in whether the Seahawks will win or lose or not. It also could mean literally nothing with whether the Seahawks will win or lose. But yeah, that is one reason why they could lose. Next is there's a very solid chance, as I touched on, that DK Metcalf will be a non-contributing zero. I've said the stats already. I'll say them again. Again, in 14 games, outside of 2 games against the Rams, 8.4 targets per game, 5.4 receptions per game, 86.9 receiving yards, and 10 touchdowns. Against the Rams, specifically Jalen Ramsey, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 43.5 receiving yards, all of those per game, and not a single touchdown. So the likelihood that he again is a non-contributing zero or a no-show, however you want to say it, is fairly high. Like, there's a very good chance that DK will be shut down. The perk for the Seahawks is, like I forgot to mention, is that Tyler Lockett is guarded by Troy Hill. So there you go, Seahawks fans. You can be happy about that one. But what you can't be happy about is your secondary. You have Shaquille Griffin, not bad, and then DJ Reed Jr. as your starting cornerbacks, with Quandre Diggs in the free safety. Jamal Adams is technically in the secondary, but just with the amount of times he rushes, he basically plays linebacker. But the secondary, specifically in pass defense, is weak. It is bad. It will be exposed. Especially, well, if the Rams do well, it'll be because of this passing attack. That's what it's going to be. But will the Rams expose the Seahawks? This is about as even as it gets. I think in the wild card matchup, this is about as even as it gets. Divisional matchups tend to be lower scoring. I don't know the reasoning. They just do. Maybe it's because you have the most film than literally anybody else except for the other couple teams in your division. I don't get it, but they tend to be lower scoring. And in a lower scoring matchup, I'm going to go with the team that'll have the ball more, and that's the Los Angeles Rams. They were second in time of possession. I think they will dominate the time of possession here. They're going to take advantage of that weak Seahawks secondary. The weak defense in general, with Andrew Whitworth back, with Cam Akers finally stepping up, not good enough, improving his play, but just going into the dominant running back role. I have the Rams winning 21-13. Now, could the Seahawks win? Absolutely. I could look like an absolute idiot for this. I just don't like the way that the Seahawks are set up for the playoffs. Their defense is stepping up, but you can't ignore the last 12 weeks, the first 12 weeks of football. You can't ignore that. Yes, you should value what happened more recently more than what happened in the beginning. I would say I do. I value what happens more recently than what happened in the past. But you can't just ignore it. Okay, the flaws are there. Sean McVay is not an idiot. In fact, he's a genius. He knows those flaws. So I'm gonna go with the Rams here. But if the Seahawks are to win, it's gonna be through Wilson. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe. If you didn't, you're probably a Seahawks fan or someone with common sense. Don't know what either of those two are. I've never been one in my life. But no hate. I'm just a Patriots fan and an idiot. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Adios.